Good evening, dear students. So this is a special session. Uh, we are discussing with our past A-level students, 21 A-level students, to give you a good idea about the preparation to your A-level exam, and then how to manage the theory parts and then the revision parts in your subject cases, all the subjects. So this will be a good mentoring session for you. You can ask questions from our guest lecturers, our past students. Now they are university students, or they are willing to attend to the university courses. So then they have done their best in last year, before last year. So then you can get a good knowledge from them. So then I'm going to start the session. Our guest speaker is Siama Samarakon. She's from Visakha Vidyalaya and she has done her A-levels in 2021 in biostream. So then we can discuss about her progress. Currently, she is waiting for the admission or the university entrance for medical subjects, medical courses, medical faculty entrance. Okay, Siama, first of all, congratulations from me and our students to you for your big achievement. And how are you now?
I'm quite fine, sir. Thank you.
Right. Okay. So then directly we are coming to the question session. Siama, first of all, we would like to know how to prepare, how to get ready for A-levels, especially in the first year.
So the first year, the process is quite slow. You don't have to work very hard in the first year. You can sleep well and rest and also do the studies. It's not that much of a rush, but you have to rush when it comes to the final years. So basically the first year is the slow, is the year where you have to do your studies slowly and methodically, that's all.
Right, a good answer. So then there's a surprised answer for our students, I think, because in the first year, I know most of the students working really hard, like the final year. So, however, what about the classes? How to manage the classes in the first year? I know there are some students moving to 2 classes, 3 classes, and they are moving they are shifting the classes. What about your idea?
I didn't shift the classes. I continued the classes that I chose. I attended like basically group classes, not math classes. For chemistry, Sir Dulan, and then for physics and bio also for small like group classes. And I continued the studies that they teach us at school. So I did that properly and chose only 3 classes. So that's all.
Okay, good. And then the next thing is, what about the effect from the school? I mean, the practical side, exams, and then the other theory side. How it influenced you, school?
So basically at school, they taught us really well, and the lab sessions were also very good. So we were, the experiment sessions were like conducted in a proper way. We had to, we could ask questions and see the chemicals and everything for real. So they were very helpful, actually.
Right. What about the friends? I mean, when you are associating your friends in a, I mean, that very popular school, you have a good social circle with friends, then they are knowing the subject really well, and you are attending to the best classes in Colombo district. So, what about the competition in your school with your other students?
Well, the competition was like really unmanageable because there were people who attended to 4 classes for like one subject. So there were people like that, and there were also people who did only the school studies only. They didn't attend classes. So the competition was great, but we were able to do it successfully even amidst the competition.
Right, okay. One additional question in school life, when you are attending your A-levels, some students working as prefects and some are scouts, and then some additional activities, aesthetics, announcing, dancing, music. I don't know whether it has directly affected to you, but from your experience or from your friends' experience, can you just give some idea about the extracurricular activities, how it will affect to the first year result?
there were many people who did the extracurricular activities, but most of them didn't do the first shy very well, or like most of them are doing the second shy. But some people did the first shy very well. They like our head prefect. She has an island rank now, but the prefects in our class, most of them are doing second shy, because like I don't think they could manage both the extracurricular activities and the school, like the educational activities. So basically they're doing second shy now, the people who did both extracurricular activities and the studies.
Right. Okay. It depends on the student. Okay. And then we have to discuss about term test marks. So then generally you have 6 term tests in your school. Have you faced all the term tests for all the subjects, and how your term test marks? I want to know about the growth of the term test marks, and how the final term test mark and how it affected to you.
Yeah. So first of all, I faced all the 6 term tests for all the subjects, and my marks were very low in the beginning. Even for chemistry, like even during the last years, I couldn't score much. The highest was about 65. For bio, I scored my score grew with time. I got about 85 in the last term test. For physics also, I got 70s. So they were the marks I got.
Yeah, that is last term test. What about the first term test and second term test? That was yes. Can you just tell me the marks?
Grade 12 first term test.
Yeah, grade 12.
Yeah, grade 12 first term test. For chemistry, I had about 61, and then for physics, I had 75. For bio, I think I had 70. And then by the third term test of grade 12, I had still 65 for chemistry, and then 78 for physics, and then 83 for bio.
Okay, great. So then how you have changed after the term test? I mean, the term test marks, how to motivate? I mean, how to get ready to the next term test? Just think the term test marks were low, like 40s or 50s. Then how to get set for the next
term test? Well, basically you just have to focus more on the study areas where you got low marks. Like for bio, if you got low marks for some plant related studies, then you have to improve that. For chemistry also, you have to work on sums and all of that. For physics also, you have to focus more on the subject areas where you performed poorly in the previous exam.
Right. Okay. Good. Good. So then we are going to discuss subject-wise. Now, first of all, tell me, Siyama, biology. For biology, what kind of a procedure we have to follow, especially marking schemes, differing marking schemes? What do you understand about that?
So for bio, basically you have to study the resource book, but then the order of points that you have to give, that you have to basically study it from a marking scheme, because there are particular points that you get marks and particular points that you don't get marks, although you wrote it. So that's basically the thing. And then for MCQs, you have to know the precise point, which is there in the resource book. So you have to study that. And for structured essay also, you have to be precise when you're writing the answers. So for that, you'll have to use a marking scheme, and you have to be thorough with the marking scheme. So basically, that's what you have to do.
Okay. How many? I mean, you told that you have attended to one biology class. What about the second paper writings? Is it compulsory to check by a teacher? What do you understand about that?
Well, I didn't get my essays checked by a teacher regularly. I just follow the points in the marking scheme. Like you have to choose the proper marking scheme for that, and then you can just tick the points in it, and just you can check your own essay. You don't have to get it checked by a teacher all the time.
Right. There's a question from a student: should we study beyond the resource? should we study beyond the resource book of biology? I mean, other than the biology resource book, any other things you have to study?
No, we just have to study only the resource book, only that. We don't have to study anything else, like the Greens or the Campbell. You can just go to the diagrams, but you don't have to study the text given there. You just have to study the resource book, that's all.
Okay, complete answer. Then let's move to the physics. As a biology student, how you manage physics?
Well, physics was actually interesting because bio is basically boring, but physics was interesting. You have to know the equations. So what I did actually was I wrote all the equations down in a book, like for each chapter, all the equations. And then you have to define the symbols in that equation because as I remember in heat, in that lesson, you have a mean area or average area, not just area. So those things you have to specifically write them, like define those symbols when you're writing the equation. So that's just basically what I did. And then you have to practice a lot of sums and then write all the short methods that the teachers taught you to do the MCQ. So that's how I did.
How you manage the physics syllabus? In most of the cases, we have heard the physics syllabus that they are getting late to cover. How you manage it?
Well, I guess there are resource books now as well. So like our school teachers covered the syllabus properly as well. And also now that there are resource books, you can just read the resource book and there are like elaborated examples for each equation. So the resource book is actually a great help. You can go through the resource book if you want to learn by yourself, or if you don't have time, the school is not teaching properly, then you can just do a self-study using the resource book.
Right. How many past papers you have covered for physics? I mean, past papers, term test papers, model papers. Can you just tell us the names of them? What are the types you have done to brush up physics?
Right. So I did all the A-level past papers since 2004. I also went through the reviews. There were Sinhala medium reviews written by Professor Rosa, I guess. So I went through those reviews after I did the MCQs. And also, like we were given questions, MCQ questions from unit-wise questions. So I followed those questions as well. And I did term test papers, the pilot papers, the term test papers of different schools. And yeah, that's all I did.
Yeah, for physics also you have attended to only one class, or how many classes?
I attended only one class for physics.
Great. Okay. Have you worked according to a timetable? A question from a student.
Sir?
Timetable. Have you followed any specific timetable from the beginning?
No, the timetable, I never had a specific timetable, but I planned each day. Like when I wake up, I have a plan to like, I have to finish this by this time. And then like the day, I just plan the day each morning.
Yeah, can you just tell us more about your plan? How many works? How many hours?
How many hours during the last 2 months for the exam? I studied for 18 hours at a stretch. So that excludes breakfast, lunch, dinner. You just don't have time to go and eat. You just eat it at the table. You study while you're eating. So I was able to study 18 hours at a stretch.
Right. Okay. How to keep the motivation? What are the things you have followed? I mean, when we are studying, there are some issues with tension, sleep. How to manage these barriers? I mean, different health conditions. What did you do for those?
Well, I always thought about the people who got higher marks than me. So they are like, if they got higher marks than me, like why can't I get higher marks? So they were basically my inspiration, because like I could see them getting higher marks than me and like scoring more than me, writing all the points in bio, solving all the sums in physics that I can't do. So that was basically my motivation to study.
Right. Okay. Have you got those motivated people? I mean, from YouTube or from your friends or cousins?
From my class, like this class at the school.
Yeah, you're same batch or senior students.
No, from our batch, the people from our class, like after term test, like you see how they performed and how poor you performed, then you get
Right.
motivated. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then let's discuss about the last 3 months of A-level exam. The last 3 months means you just have 12 weeks. If you have this like 12 weeks, especially for now 2022 batch, what kind of a situation is there? What kind of a plan you have to do? I mean, just tell me the compulsory things you have to do: past papers, short notes or revisions. What you have to do if you have 12 weeks?
Yeah. So now that the exams close, like you're doing a lot of papers. So the thing is, when you're doing papers, you get things wrong. So then you always have to write it in a separate book and then go through those points like more often. Like for chemistry, like I had a book where I had like separated the questions that I couldn't perform in a paper, like what the questions that I've got wrong. So I got those questions separated and I wrote it in a separate book. And then I would always go through that book because those are the things that I couldn't get correct. So even for physics and bio, you can do the same thing when you're doing papers. When you get things wrong, you'll always have to write it down in a separate book and then go through it like more often. And also when you're like planning the day, you'll always have to get a proper sleep because like I've noticed people don't sleep, and also like from some schools they stress the students to like sleep only for 4 hours. The thing is, if you can like sleep for 4 hours and then work the rest of the 20 hours of the day properly, then sleep for 4 hours. But if you can't, always get a good sleep. Like I slept for 6 hours during the last month, but I worked the remaining hours of the day. I worked at a stretch. I was able to focus and concentrate and work. So if you need like 6 hours of sleep, then sleep for 6 hours, or 5.5, then sleep for 5.5, and then work for the rest of the day. That's basically what keeps you going.
Very good. Yes. During the exam, how you feel? Just in the day before the exam and within the, I mean, in between the exam days, how you have managed your works? Just tell me about that also.
Yeah. So basically, like the day before we had bio. I basically studied bio, but like 2-3 weeks before the exam, you can always like shuffle the subjects because then there's a diversity. You can do all the 3 subjects on a single day. But when it gets close to the exam and when you get close to the bio exam, you'll always have to study bio like during the entire day. So that's completely okay. You can study bio during the entire day. And then before the chemistry exam, you can study chemistry the entire week or the 2 days that you've got left. That's totally okay. So just don't stress, do your best, and just forget the rest. That's basically what I thought when I was writing the exam, because you can do your best and then forget about the paper. That's all.
Have you checked any MCQ answers just after A-level, after each and every subject?
No, I didn't check for bio and physics, but I checked the answers for chemistry.
Yeah, that's the last subject, right? That's the
Yeah.
last subject. It doesn't affect anything. But for physics and biology, you haven't checked, right?
No, I didn't check. I didn't check the MCQ one.
How many MCQ marks you got for biology as your guess?
For bio, I had 43. For physics, 42. For chemistry, I had 44.
44. Okay. So then, what are the distractions for A-level students? I mean, from mobiles and from the other online apps, and then other. I mean, what do you, I understand about your now? You have attended to a good course. You have done your best, but I don't think all of your friends has achieved the same thing. So, what are the drawbacks as you experience from your friends, and what was the difference that you have identified? How to overcome this?
So basically, I think the online classes, most of the people didn't get the online classes like perform in the online classes very well. They just didn't study properly in the online classes. They gave up. That's what I basically noticed, because people just didn't get the flow and they just dropped it. So they didn't perform well. And also, like I remember for chemistry, so Dulan would always ask us to like do the physical sums twice a week. So then sir wouldn't ask it again. Like we would do it in the beginning and then we would check the like answers, and he would explain it, and then he would ask us to do it once more. And then some people wouldn't do it. They would just send the stuff they did previously. They would just photograph it and then send it as if they've done it again. But like if sir asks you to do it again, you will always have to do it again, even though he would check it or not. It's just your dedication. You'll have to do it again and just do it as if you're doing it in a physical class, because the online thing, most of the people didn't do it properly. So that's what I noticed.
Right. Siama, one more thing. Have you used a mobile phone when you're studying or in your A-level life, and have you used it?
How did I?
Used it. I mean, mobile phone. How you manage with your mobile? Is it I mean, smart one device or the other device? How many tabs you had? A laptop? How you manage your online studies?
Yeah. So the mobile phone is actually a great source of distraction. You easily get distracted because there's a lot of things that you can do with it. So how I managed was what did I do? Well, I watched inspirational videos whenever I went to YouTube. Like there were things that I watched, like motivational quotes or motivational videos, like how people achieve things and why am I always unmotivated, or why am I always visiting this site. So I used to watch those videos, and then I would just keep my mobile phone as far away from me. Like I would study downstairs and keep my phone like upstairs or somewhere else that I can't go. So basically that's what I did.
Right. Okay. Can you give some instructions or advices to our students to manage the social media that they are engaging? I mean, WhatsApp and the other social forms. I don't know. Many more forms are there. So then, how to manage it? Can you give some experience from your friends also? What to do?
Yeah. So social media. Yeah. Well, like most of the time, you can see that the people who score in the exam, you can see that they're always offline. They don't come online that much. They don't put statuses. They don't reply to your text. They just don't use the social media very much, so that you can see it. And you also like, you try to be like them, and you just don't use social media very much. And also like another thing you can do is just, you can limit your activity like all the time. Like if you spend 3 hours today for social media, you can always tell yourself, okay, well, I spent 3 hours today, then like I'm gonna spend 2.5 hours in the next day. So you can maybe like try to do that, or you can like, yeah, you can just try to do that and limit your activity in social media. And yeah, so you can do that.
Right. Okay. So generally, when you study your subjects, how many months you have to cover? I mean, කොච්චර කාලයකට කලින්ද syllabus එක cover කරගන්න ඕනේ? හැම subject එකකටම කලින්, as you wish, as you guess.
As I guess, at least 3 months.
I mean, subject-wise, can you tell biology, physics, and chemistry?
Well, biology, I guess you'll have to cover it up. You'll have to like finish studying the entire syllabus about, let's say, like way before the other 2 subjects, because in bio the content is so much, so you can always study it and finish studying it. So I guess for bio you'll have to, it's better if you can finish studying bio probably about 4.5 months before the exam. I guess that will be good. And then for chemistry and physics, about 3 months prior to the exam, that's enough. Like try to cover up bio before the other 2 subjects. Then you can finish the load and then focus more on the other 2 subjects.
Right. As a biology student, which subject you have given? You have concentrated highly. Which subject? Can you give one subject or all the three subjects you have balanced?
Well, I gave chemistry much attention, and then physics. I gave bio the least attention.
Right. So even you have given the least attention, you have scored an A pass. What is your secret behind biology A pass?
Well, bio, you'll always have to you keep forgetting the things you studied for bio. So it's better if you can study bio, you can finish studying bio and then re-study the stuff that you studied in the previous week. Then the memory retains in your head. And also for bio, do a lot of MCQs. Then all this the tiny details will be deposited in your head when you do a lot of MCQ questions. So yeah, that's how to do it.
Right. Okay. Siama, so we have come to the end of our session. So we have shared many more experiences with you. So then what is the final message you have to give to our students? There are 24 students, 23 students, 22 students. What you have to give, share with these students now? What you feel actually after selecting medicine?
Well, I'm actually happy. I feel like I could pay, I could, repay for the things that my parents have done for me, and also I could help people. So I'm very happy that I'm selected. So what I have to say for you is that you always do your best, and it's there's a beautiful quotation which says, "Do your best, don't stress, and then forget the rest." So you can always align yourself with that quotation and just do your best, but don't stress. When it gets closer to the exam, just don't stress. Try to do your best and try to do all the things that the teachers and the sirs assign you to do. And then sleep properly, don't stress, and just do your best and go along with the flow. That's basically what you have to do.
Okay, thank you. Finally, the last question. What are your future plans now after attending medicine, and what is your focus in upcoming 10 years?
After this?
Yeah. Now after attending medical faculty, and what is your final target?
Well, I want to serve people and help them. I just I'm not focused on the money or the reputation I get. I just want to help people, use my knowledge to help people, and that's basically what I want.
Okay, thank you very much. So really happy to share with your experience with our students and me. Actually, I'm feeling very happy about you. So then this is not the time to talk about you, but I know really well about you. So then මට ගොඩක් සතුටු වෙයි ඉතින් යෝගේ අනාගතයේ ඔක්කොම ෆියුචර් එක parents ලාට ඔක්කොටම මම මේ වෙලාවේ සුපතිනවා. ඉතින් දුව අපි මම ක්ලාස් එකේ පොඩක් ගයිඩ් කරා විතරයි. දුවට grade 1 kindergarten ඉඳන්ම උගන්වපු ටීචර්ස් ලා ඔක්කොම දුවගේ රිසල්ට් එකට responsible වෙනවා. ඒක හොඳට දුව හැම වෙලේම මතක තියාගන්න ඕනේ. I think I wish you all the very best for your future endeavors. Dr. Siama, one day. So then wishing you all the very best. Let's meet another time after you have attended to the medical faculty, and as a university students, let's discuss one more time. So then until then, good night. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Right. Okay, our dear students, Siama, you can leave there. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Right. Now I have Chamatka. Are you there? Shall we start? Chamatka, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you switch on your camera also? Right. I think can see you.
Yes.
Just wait. I think I have added a pin to me. Right. Okay. And now you are there. Right. Okay. Okay, Huda, so first of all, I'll introduce you, Chamatka Dushan from Mahindra Rajavaksha College, one of my school students. So then he's joining with you to share his experience from mathematics stream, A-level physical science stream. Okay, Huda. So then අපි ඉස්සලා දුවත් එක්ක කතා කරේ bio stream එක ගැන දැන් පුතාත් එක්ක කතා කරන්නේ math stream එක ගැන basically අපි පුතාලට කියමු මේ A level maths ගැන හොඳ idea එකක් තියෙන නිසා අපි මුලින්ම maths වලින්ම පටන් ගමු. So then how do you think first year how to manage combined maths?
Definitely you should pay attention to trigonometry. That's the most important, I think, lesson in the entire syllabus. If you mess it up, you mess up all the other parts. So first year, I think trigonometry, definitely. And next, physics, mechanics part of the physics. That is very important because equations in that part comes in many other parts. That's and chemistry is first year. Not many things. There are not many things in chemistry for first year because the chemistry is mainly studying. So other theory parts, you should understand the theory parts. So first year is not the hardest.
Right, Huda, it's clear. Now I want to discuss about combined maths. So then first of all, I have to finish that part. So then you told that trigonometry is a very important lesson.
Yes.
Yeah. So in combined maths, there are two sections: applied and pure. How to focus on pure and applied? What are the critical lessons you have to focus? Just like the trigonometry, can you just mention some more lessons and then the time that we have to allocate for them?
Trigonometry definitely takes the most time, and forces and vectors go hand in hand. Just if you can do one, you can almost do the other. And there are small exercises called trigonometric identities. I mean, classes give them in hundreds actually. You should definitely do them because they improve the analytical skills. Now you have to sometimes convert some formula to another form. So if you have familiarized yourself with all the terms, it becomes easier in the exam. And there's also a small part in, I think, algebra, partial fractions, which is very important in integration, and there's definitely a part of integration using partial fractions.
Right. Now, Huda, generally we know schools are starting just after like 4 or 6 months from your A levels commencement, right? Again, A level මුලින්ම ගොඩක් වෙලාට class වලින් තමයි commence වෙන්නේ. So then how you have chosen your classes? I mean, how many classes you have attended? I told that the student is from my school, and then how many classes you have attended, and what you have to share your common experience on classes. I mean, if you have done some failures or any other mistakes, you can just give a good idea to our students because they are sometimes still selecting the classes. Yes, what's your opinion?
I actually went only for every subject one class, but in combined maths, I kind of messed up everything because I went to a class. So in an institute, the syllabus was very slow, painfully slow, and then suddenly the class was cancelled. Then in the immediate next week, I joined another class, and that class was very fast and syllabus was further complete. So I went to 2022 A-level classes and have to catch up everything. So maths, you should definitely pay attention to how fast the syllabus is moving, and also talk with your friends about which part of the syllabus the classes are doing, because if you think that the class that you are going is very too slow to complete everything, you should definitely switch early, because once you reach very important lessons, it becomes very hard to switch and catch up. And also physics, most students in A level, most students find physics to be hardest subject, but The thing is, in physics, the most is theory. If you understand theory, you can do the question. In most class, the thing is they just kind of make you remember everything and give some questions, and you think you can do things. But the thing is, when a different question comes, you kind of confuse everything. So theory is the most important thing in physics, and also questions are important in all the subjects. And chemistry, you should mostly chemistry studying, but physical chemistry have very intricate parts to understand. Like when, let's say, A, A is in equilibrium with B and C, and they say then at a certain temperature B is also in equilibrium in C and D. In something like that, it is very important to understand how the system behaves to answer the question, because if you mix up the first thing and you also get the answers from for the subsequent parts. So then also you should also go to a class which do a lot of papers. That is very important, because let's say you did 25 papers timed and in A-level structure. So when you went to the A-levels, it is just like you have done before. So no stress at all, because you have already done it many times. That's why also that's one of the main reasons the students get scared in the A level, because they haven't done it before. So if you have a lot of questions and lot of timed papers, and according to the A level structure, you just don't feel it like you don't feel any difference between doing it in a class and doing it in A levels. So
Right.
if your class don't do paper, that is a kind of a red flag, because then you are not correctly prepared for the A level exam.
Yeah. Now, papers means in order to do papers, do we have to cover the entire syllabus, or do we have to do the papers unit wise? Is it a paper class or is it a theory class? What do you prefer?
So usually you, after you finish the certain syllabus part, it is okay to do the questions that from that unit alone, because then you can test how is your knowledge regarding the part that you just learned. If you completed the lesson and you take the past paper book and try to do it, and if you can't do, then that is a problem. But after you, let's say, finish the few units, you can do most parts of an LL paper. Like in physics, the first 4 or 5 lessons are the most important. If you do it, you can get more than 50 marks in an LL paper.
Right. Now, in A-level chemistry, in A-level papers, we don't have to write entire essay paper. We have to select the questions. So then, can you just give a good idea about the selection of questions, especially in combined maths, chemistry, and physics? What is your vision? What is your view? We can skip if we can skip these questions. That would be better. Or can you just prefer some questions to skip or questions to do? What is your idea?
Well, when I was writing those past papers, I found that some questions are easier for me than the others, and some are actually harder for me. For me, integration and differentiation was very easy, but series and simple harmonic motion, I actually didn't get any part of these. So I had to skip them, and there are some people who prefer simple harmonic motion and things like that. So that totally depend on you. So in chemistry, physical chemistry was actually kind of hard for me. Like the example I explained before, that equilibrium systems like that, I always get kind of confused about how the system works. So I actually focus on the parts that I know I can do, and then move to the parts that I'm not very much confident in myself. Like first I studied inorganic completely. So I do the inorganic part. Then I studied organic completely. Then I do the organic, and then I go from there and look at the questions and kind of think about how much time they will take and take the best path.
What about the industrial question?
Industrial, the thing is, I think the chemistry class I went didn't complete industrial chemistry, so I kind of want sir gave the link to sir's class, so I watched it and I memorized everything for the MCQ and things, but I didn't study it deeply, so I wasn't actually very confident in industrial chemistry, so I skipped it.
Okay. How many MCQ marks you got for each subject? I mean, physics and chemistry, as you remember.
In chemistry, I don't very much remember because I didn't bother to check it because I knew I did it very well. So in physics, I'm pretty sure I got more than 45 out of 50. Physics was always my strong suit. So chemistry, the thing about chemistry MCQ is the last 20 questions. If you miss a point, you got the wrong answer. So you should always, that's why you should study chemistry. Every little point matters in that, because I saw some question in a past paper, I think in some school, the answer, I got the wrong answer because I missed the delta G note, that little note, because it was missing, my answer was wrong. So you should definitely study it because the last 20 is the hardest MCQ in the chemistry paper.
Right. Okay. So especially, what do you understand about the covering the syllabus? How many months before you have to cover the syllabus in an ideal manner?
I think if you are already doing, let's say, papers along with the studying syllabus, then if you complete the syllabus 3 months before, that is more than enough. But if you didn't do papers and past papers, then it is a problem. I'm not very sure, because if you didn't do the papers while doing the syllabus, it might be very hard to catch up, because then you forget the things that you learned many months before.
Right. Finally, I mean, how term test marks were affected to you? How was your marks at the beginning, and then how you have, changed with the term test marks? Is it supportive, or what had happened with term test marks?
I actually only wrote that one term test after starting school, like in 2 months after. That's the only term test I wrote. But I wrote papers myself, and they were actually improving, because maths marks, in combined maths, my first marks was not very good. Then I had to improve a lot. I have to give more attention to combined maths actually. I'm pretty sure I gave more attention to combined maths than the other two subjects, because I didn't get the ideal start.
Right. How about the attendance to school? I mean, how to manage your time after attending school? ඉස්කෝලේ ගියාට පස්සේ හවස දැන් වැඩ කරන්න පොඩ්ඩක් වෙලාව ඉතුරු වෙනවා. හවස ක්ලාස් යනවා. කොහොමද ඉස්කෝලේ දවස් වලට වෙලාව මැනේජ් කරගන්නේ?
You should definitely take something, at least, let's say, a tute, a past paper to school, and if you have a free period, you can do that. And also, if you are, let's say, going to the class, and you can actually get an app on the phone and create some flashcards, like for things like chemistry, and you can actually, if you are going on the bus and have a few minutes, you can look at it. That school, definitely take something to school, because mostly you might have few free periods every day.
Okay. So then you are in a very challenging period. I think COVID, and then Saharan, and then some another major cases affected to you, and most of your classes were online. So then have you overcome all these barriers, especially online education? How to study really well if you are studying just online? What do you understand about that?
Actually, there are, if when studying online, it is really easy to get distracted. So sometimes when I look at the notes, I don't understand what I have written. So I had to go to there are very good YouTube channels like the Organic Chemistry Tutor, which has like lectures on all subjects, and Khan Academy. Uh, and for maths, there's a kind of an engine called Wolfram Alpha, which show you which can give you answers to your question. And I had to use them because it is really easy to get distracted, and also use the other resources to understand everything better, because the online and physical thing is there's a very big gap between that, because you don't get attention in the online class. Let's say the teacher give you a question, then if you are in a physical class, you have to answer it, because the teacher is always moving around and will see you. But the thing is, in online, the teacher won't know even if you are sleeping. So that's the challenge, and that's the main challenge going to the online classes, because the attention is always moving to different things. So you should, when you are studying, you should definitely minimize distractions around you.
Right. How to minimize the distractions? I mean, how to effectively use the mobile phone and then the social media, as you guess?
Definitely track your phone usage, like how many time you spend on YouTube, WhatsApp. And if you are studying, definitely put the phone on silence, because a single notification is enough to completely ruin your study session. Like you get a notification, you take your phone and you just reply to the message, and you open another app, you scroll through a social media app. Definitely you should put the phone away if you are studying. And also you should also have a schedule for studying, like I'm going to study 2 hours and then I'm going to do this, like that. Because if you don't have planned ahead, then you go to drink water, and then other things come, you start to daydream and everything like that.
Right. දැන් ගොඩක් අය ගේම්ස් වලට සමහර අය මේ ඇඩික්ට් වෙලා ඉන්නවා. ඊට පස්සේ ඔය එක එක TV series films ඒ වගේ දැන් පුතාගේ යාළුවෝ එහෙම ඇඩික්ට් වෙලා හිටියද ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ රිසර්ච් කොහමද, මොනවද issues as you experienced?
I actually didn't play games and didn't watch. Actually, I stopped doing all that in the February 2021, because I thought A was going to be in August, and AL just started skipping, and I didn't actually catch them. But the thing is, if you really want to do it, you should definitely time it. Like, I have this number of hours per week, and let's say I will play a game, and this is number of hours I can do it. Like, you should always limit yourself, because if you get addicted, then that is the problem. And also the fact is, I don't really like playing games. Then I didn't have many problems regarding that.
Right. Okay. I mean, what do you understand about there's a question from a student. I'm asking how many sums that you have done from combined maths from unit wise. I mean, each and every lesson එකකට questions කීයක් කරාද? class එකේ දුන්න questions විතරද කරේ තවත් questions කරාද?
I did a lot. And I actually asked my friends to send questions. Then I sent them papers and questions from my classes. And I'm pretty sure I had like thousands of pieces of paper that I did calculations on.
For combined maths and physics, kind it separately, you can say?
Yes. And also chemistry, because things like organic, you have to practice, because if you kind of saw something that kind of confusing, then your entire morale will be lowered. Then I think I did a lot of conversions in organic.
Right. Conversion spot. Right. So then finally, how you manage the last few days of your A-level exam, just before the A-level exam and in between the A-level exam days, how to manage the motivation and the mind, as you guess?
Well, if you have done enough papers and practice enough, then you won't get very stressed in the level, but kind of it is an important exam, so you will get stressed to a certain degree. And also don't study in the morning of the exam because it will confuse everything that you have studied previously. And also when you complete the paper, don't just go home and check all the answers, ask the other friends to send the answers. Don't do it, because let's say if you find few things that you did wrong, then you will not be able to do your best in the next day. So don't check answers until the A level is complete.
Right. So there's a question, did you complete 80% attendance on school? So then as we know, we didn't check 80% attendance for these batches, 2021 and 2022 batch also we don't check because of the COVID issue and the other stuff, right? But you can manage that fun, I think. How about the school attendance? Is it important or not?
That's a kind of a hard question, because that completely depends on how your school teach and things. Because if it isn't very useful, then you don't have to go to school, because then there are some school actually teach everything very clearly and kind of don't have any free periods. But the thing is, if you have many free periods in day and the subject is not very clear when they teach it, then it kind of actually ineffective to go to school actually, personally.
Right. Okay. It depends totally on the teacher and the school. Right. It depends on the teacher. Right. However, now what is what I mean? Now you have selected to engineering in Maratua University. So then, what are your future plans as an engineering student? I want to know that thing also.
I'm hoping to graduate in mechanical engineering field, and if I can do it, I'm also, I have to actually check if the university that I'm selected, like something like minor in mechatronics or something, because I like robotics. So then after I get it, I'm pretty sure I will be able to get my master's. And currently, I'm not hoping to get a PhD or anything.
Okay, definitely. How was the support from parents?
They help me actually a lot, because it is kind. Then actually the thing is, in the pandemic period, since we are not going to school, I had actually classes like all 7 days of week, because everyone putting classes and saying you have a lot of free time, so class in here, class in there, and also had overlapping classes. So I'm I spend most of my time in the room. So they actually was a great help, because kind of stressed and everything.
Right. What are the types of papers you have to do for physics, chemistry, and combined? Types of papers means, is it only the past papers or is it the model papers, support seminar papers, pilot papers? What did you follow?
I actually recommend doing everything you can get your hands on, because the more you do, more is better. Uh, Definitely you should do past paper, A-level past papers, then past papers and papers from schools, and then the other published papers, because there are some papers that are not, definitely not to A-level standard. There are some questions that I'm pretty sure no one has heard of the theory parts required for them.
Right. Have you referred any international books in that YouTube channels, or I mean, how was that thing?
I haven't, no international books, but a lot of videos in YouTube to understand
Okay, I
theories.
think yeah, I think you can share the links for those YouTube channels. Huda, is it possible? Not now, just after the session. Some if you can follow. right? Because I also don't know some links of YouTube channels in combined maths and physics. If it is possible, kindly send them to us. So now, students. So then, dear students, this is the last chance you get to ask questions. So then, if you want to ask any more questions related to maths and physics or any other thing, you can just ask from. Buddha, what is the common experience you have to give to our students? The general idea, the major instructions.
The more time you put to your studies, the better the result will be. Definitely.
Good. And then as now you have succeeded your result, but there are some students with you, your friends, they haven't got their expected result. So then why is that? What do you think about the unexpected result that they have received?
Actually, that might be because there are some things happen when you are writing in the paper, because you feel confident and you just see some question that you had no idea, and all the confidence is lost. And if you lose your confidence in the middle of exam, there's a very high possibility that your result also will be lowered, because you will be stressed, under stress, and you will not be think clearly about things in the paper. So, and also because time management is really important in the A levels, and you just trying to do the same question over and over again and give like half an hour for the same question, then you lose the time to do another question that you might have more success in doing.
Okay, good.
And also,
Okay.
and also some people kind of skip some certain parts in the theory because they think that is not important, or like many people that do maths kind of skim through chemistry. I have actually a friend who have 2A's and a C. The C is for chemistry because he didn't pay enough attention to chemistry, and he is actually very excellent at maths.
Right. So then there's a question now. ගොඩක් වෙලාවට දැන් අපි හොඳට ස්ටඩීස් කරගෙන යනවා ඒනොට එකපාරට අපේ මොටිවේෂන් එක බහිනවා. ඒ වැඩ ටික කරගෙන යද්දි ටිකක් හොඳට පික් අප් වෙලා එනකොට මායි සමහරට ඩ්‍රොප් වෙනවා. කොහොමද මේ මොටිවේෂන් එක අපි කන්ස්ටන්ට් තියාගන්නේ? මොනවා හරි තියනවාද ඒකට කරන්න පුළුවන් දේවල් ටික?
The thing that I followed is, I actually, before I started studying, I set a target like I'm going to complete up to carbon in the P block. So when I reach it, I stop for like 10 minutes and set a different target. Like if you aim like I'm going to finish chemistry SPD today, then you will lose your concentration because the target is too far away. You should always do everything incrementally. So when you reach your target, you kind of set yourself some kind of a reward. Let's say you study, when you finish to a certain point, let's say carbon in the P block, you go out, like walk around for like 5 minutes, and you come back and you target, okay, I'm going to complete till sulfur, like that. Smaller targets, smaller increments.
Right. Now, when you attend into classes, you have class homeworks, and when you attend into school, sometimes you have school homeworks. Other than that, have you done anything in each and every week, like self-studies or any other things?
I actually did self-studies because there are sometimes the theories in the classes, like mostly electronics in physics, I didn't get what they taught in the class. So I had to do self-study. Mostly electronic parts is about entirely self-study. So go to YouTube, watch videos, read some documents, and try to solve the questions in LL past papers.
Right. Yes. Now, just think you have one single entire day. එක දවසක්ම ගෙදර. දැන් මුකුත් වැඩ නැහැ දවසේ classes නැහැ. How to manage that day? That means you are taking just one subject, or you are mixing up all the three subjects. How to manage? How to schedule that day as you guess?
I actually, if I have an entire day, I kind of mix all the subjects together, because if you spend your entire time doing a single subject, then it kind of gets boring after like 4 hours or so. And also, don't set too high targets, like I'm going to wake till 3 a.m. and study for 6 hours straight, because you kind of cannot do that physically, because then you lose entire day, because like you wake up at 3 and okay, I'm going to sleep for 10 minutes and wake up like 3 hours later and do a little bit of studying and go eat breakfast, and like in a few hours you kind of lose the entire day. You should always like go stick to your natural plan. Like let's say when you are going to school, you wake up at 6. So if you have an entire free day, you should also wake up at 6, because if you kind of change it, then it mess up your schedule in the body. So mix and match everything.
Yeah, how sleep is important as you guess? How many hours?
I actually sleep from 7.5 hours.
අපේ ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස්ලා හිතන්නේ මේ නිදා ගන්න වෙලාවෙන් තමයි වෙලාව අඩු කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා. 4 hours sleep කරන අයත් ඉන්නවා.
Actually, no, you should sleep. You should get enough sleep, because let's say you study something, and when you are sleeping, that's the time that you study is actually stored in something like temporary memory. And when you are sleeping is the time that temporary memory is stored into the permanent memory. And also it is the time that your brain actually made connections between things that you have done. Let's say that's why some things that say the scientist got this idea while he was sleeping, like he was working on it and then he went to sleep. And that there are actually different stages of sleeps. Like I think in the REM sleep, random eye movement or something that is called, in that time actually the brain is making many connections within things that in your brain. So they said that the scientists who got the structure of benzene, I think, saw a dream that a snake eats itself from the tail or something like that. So definitely that's the time you make actually sense about what you learn. So let's say you just spend like 20 hours studying and 4 hours sleep, then you're actually going to lose most of the stuff that you study. You should definitely have enough sleep.
Right. Have you attended to all the classes? I mean, in all the class days, did you miss any class? How you manage that? කියන සමහරලාට ඔය දාන හන්දා එක funerals ඒ වගේ research හන්දා classes miss වෙනවා. ඒවා කොහොමද manage කරගන්නේ? ඒකට මොකද කරේ? හැම class එකකටම ගියාද?
I actually went to most class that I could, but if I'm missing something, then like I think yes, no classes provide any recordings. So I take a note from someone and write the note and try to understand myself, go on YouTube and stuff like that. Also, I had my physics class and a session of math class always overlap each other. So I just actually I miss a single math class every week.
Right. දැන් සමහර ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස්ලා ඉන්නවා recordings වලින්ම බලන අය ඉන්නවා classes එකට attend වෙන්නේ නැහැ live class යන්නේ නැහැ recordings බලනවා ඒක කොහොමද manage කරගන්නේ ඉස්කෝලේ යන්න නැතුව recordings බලනවා 4-5ක් ඒක effectiveද කොහොමද පුතා?
Actually, no, watching recordings is not the effective, because then you kind of lose the advantage you have, because you just play the video and do something else. That's the most important thing, is that keeping yourself in a plan. So there are actually some people I know that they were actually like 2 months behind the live classes because they just miss class. Okay, I'm going to watch the recording tomorrow, and they miss it. And even though they can attend the next live session, they can't understand anything because they missed the previous session. So don't just wait to watch the recording. If you really have to miss the class, then it's all right. But if you can attend class, then definitely go to the class.
Right. Okay. So then that's all from my question session. I have asked what are the questions that I had. Right. So then we had a great session with our student Chamatka. So then what are the things did you other than studying like hobbies? මොන හරි අපි question එකක් අහලා තියෙනවා student කෙනෙක් hobbies කරාද extra curricular activities කරාද කියලා පුතා.
I actually didn't do any extracurricular activities, but I have a few hobbies like electronics, programming, and things like that. I but did everything under control because if I spend huge amount of hours doing them, then I miss things. So I kind of postponed everything till I complete my A levels. I
Very
didn't
good.
stop them, postponed them.
Did you had any inspiration from your cousins or your cousin brother, sister, or your, I mean, father, mother? I mean, have they attended the same field like engineering, or have you just got the motivation from the family? Did you have any
No one
experience like
actually,
that?
no one of my cousins have attended anything like engineering or medicine. And I have a brother and sister, both of them are younger. So I needed to do my best. So that's kind of the inspiration I took.
Really good. Really happy about your that statement. Okay, as a younger brother, you are giving the guidance to your little sister and the other brother, and then that is what your father expects, mother expects. They are really blessed parents, I know. So I'm really happy to share the experience with you and our students. So then, Aputa, thank you very much for sharing your experience with us. So then, dear students, we are going to wrap up the session from here. If you want to discuss more about, I mean, ask more experience about Chamatka, you can just send a WhatsApp message to me. Then I can send him and get more information related to any field. So then he's ready to help you. So then, thank you very much, Chamatka. Finally, what you have to say to our students as a conclusion?
All the best and good luck.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much for your valuable time. Wishing you all the very best for your future endeavors. Definitely, we will meet once again in your university life as a university student, second year or third year as an engineering student. Wishing you all the very best. Good night, brother.
Thank you for inviting, sir. Good night.
Right. Okay. That is from. Okay. That is Chamatkar from one of my past students. So actually, we have many more students like this, but unfortunately, due to their different schedules, we can't take all the students at one single time, and then it will take more time. So then, dear students, thank you very much for attending our live session from a little invitation. So we will do these motivation sessions like like more motivation sessions will be coming up, upcoming sessions I'm planning. So if you need any more information related to any field, just send a feedback related to this. So then thank you very much for joining this. Good night.